Negotiate like a pro. Most companies give up negotiating leverage without realizing it, and it can end up costing them millions, directly impacting their bottom line. Join me to learn how to avoid the biggest negotiation mistakes, build a supplier-specific strategy, structure your team for success, use silence and trade-offs to your advantage, and prove your real value you can deliver so you can negotiate like a pro every time. So why does negotiation matter so much now? It isn't just a step at the end of a process. It begins at the very first conversation. From the moment you say hello. Too often, businesses wait until the final stages of a deal to think about negotiation, but by then, they've already given up all their leverage. Right now, Canadian companies are facing rising costs, economic uncertainty, and increasingly complex supplier contracts, especially in areas like technology and software as a service. Supply chains are under pressure, and the risks of getting it wrong are higher than ever. This is why negotiation has become a strategic tool, not just a tactical one. Done right, it can reduce costs, mitigate risks, and lock in long-term value. Done poorly, it can cost you money, damage relationships, and leave your business vulnerable. So what most businesses get wrong? Over the past 3 decades, I've seen businesses fall into the same traps time and time again. The most common? Selecting one supplier too early and tipping their hand. Once you reveal you've already chosen them, you've lost all your leverage. Another big mistake is sharing internal details like your budget, your deadline, which suppliers can then use against you. Many companies obsess over price, ignoring factors like total cost of ownership, contract term flexibility, and risk exposure. That short-term thinking often results in long-term headaches. Even worse, many teams enter negotiations with no structured plan or strategy at all, no escalation process, and no method to track or validate your value. This lack of discipline often costs businesses millions. Perhaps the most dangerous mistake of all is internal misalignment. If procurement wants one thing, finance another, and the business unit something else entirely, suppliers notice immediately. And believe me, they will exploit that confusion to their advantage. Avoiding these pitfalls requires preparation, alignment, and above all, discipline. Otherwise, you're negotiating from a position of weakness instead of strength. Building a supplier-specific strategy. A great negotiation strategy is never one size fits all. Each supplier has unique pressures, motivations, and vulnerabilities. To negotiate effectively, you need to do your homework. Find out when their fiscal year ends, because quarter or year-end pressures can drive major concessions. Are they behind on sales targets? That could give you leverage. Who has the real authority to sign off? If you're negotiating with somebody who doesn't have authority, you're wasting your time. What competitors are they up against? How are they positioned in the market? And just as importantly, define what matters to you. Are you seeking long-term price certainty, stronger service level agreements, flexibility in your contract terms, reducing your risk exposure, liability caps that protect your organization? Document it all in a one-page negotiation strategy. Spell out your opening position, your walk-away points, and potential trade-offs, and the escalation steps necessary to get approval. Most importantly, get this strategy aligned and approved internally before you even sit down at the table. That way, you negotiate with authority, consistency, and confidence. Without that preparation, you're already costs, savings, and value impacts, so you don't agree to something that looks good but undermines your financial goals. This team-based approach balances perspectives, reduces risks, and ensures that no single voice dominates. But structure alone isn't enough. You must also prepare together, align on your strategy, rehearse your sequencing, and anticipate supplier pushbacks. Run a dry run rehearsal. Decide up front who will speak to which issues and when silence is more powerful than words. Without that preparation, you're leaving too much to chance. With it, you enter the room aligned, focused, and in control. Next, use links and trades. Not all terms in a negotiation are created equal. Some things matter deeply to you, while others may matter more to your supplier. That's where the strategy of linking and trading comes in. Let's say a supplier wants a longer contract term to lock in predictable revenue. You, on the other hand, want long-term price certainty. By linking together, you can trade one for the other. Agree to the longer term in exchange for fixed pricing and capped increases over the full duration of the contract. Both sides win. This is how you create real, sustainable value. Not by grinding the other side down, but aligning interests in a way that unlocks concessions without giving up value. The key is preparation. Map out these potential links and trades in advance and build them into your negotiation strategy document. That way, when a conversation stalls, you're not scrambling for ideas. You already know which levers to pull to move the deal forward while still protecting your organization's priorities. Win-win isn't a cliche. It's a proven method when executed with discipline. Silence. Leveraging silence. It's one of the most underused yet powerful negotiation tools. Most people can't stand silence. They rush to fill the void. That instinct creates opportunity for you. When used strategically, silence can reset power dynamics and push suppliers to make stronger offers. I've seen this firsthand. In one negotiation, renewal terms were completely unacceptable. Despite multiple attempts to trade, instead of conceding, we went silent. Our entire executive team was aligned in advance, and we stayed quiet for weeks. With their quarter end approaching, the supplier grew increasingly uncomfortable. To break the silence, they returned with a far better proposal without us making a single concession. But here's the catch. Silence only works if your team is united. If one person panics and speaks too soon, your advantage is lost. This isn't about being aggressive. It's about holding calm authority and let silence do the work. The longer you can stay comfortable in that discomfort, the more powerful the results. Sometimes the smartest move in negotiation is simply saying nothing. Strategy number 5 is really about aiming for fair, not the lowest deal. Too many organizations chase the lowest price as if that's the definition of success. But cheap often comes at a much higher cost. Suppliers under pressure to meet unsustainable pricing will cut corners, reduce quality, and eventually fail to deliver. That creates more risk for you, not less. Instead, the goal of negotiation should be to reach a fair, market competitive pricing and terms where both sides can succeed. This builds trust, partnership, and better long-term outcomes. Personally, I've walked away from deals where clients pressured me to cut fees below what would allow me to deliver value. I'd rather lose the work than compromise my standards. And often those clients return later after learning the hard way. You get what you pay for. Negotiation is about creating value, not stripping it away. Yes, drive strong pricing, but also ensure service levels, contract terms, and performance standards are aligned. A cheap deal that undermines quality is not a win. It's a recipe for disaster. True success is securing fair terms that sustain performance, protect relationships, and deliver real outcomes. Don't forget to prove your value. Negotiation isn't over when the contract is signed. To truly demonstrate your value, you must show the results. That means quantifying both hard and soft benefits. Hard benefits include price reductions, discounts, and improved payment terms. Soft benefits, likely stronger liability clauses, better exit terms, or long-term price certainty, may not have a dollar value, but they are equally, if not more, critical. This first step is to set a clear baseline before negotiations even begin. Agree with your stakeholders on what the current costs and terms are, whether that's budget, incumbent pricing, or averages from supplier bids. Then once negotiations are complete, you can measure and report the actual value delivered. Use a consistent methodology, baseline versus final pricing, volumes, contract term length, and qualitative improvements. Always document the results in writing, a term sheet, debrief notes, and a final value report. I learned this lesson the hard way early in my career when a client refused to validate savings I had delivered. It cost me thousands and taught me never to leave value undocumented. Whether you're a consultant or an internal procurement leader or IT leader, finance leader, proving your value is just as important as creating it. So what's changing in negotiation? The world in negotiation is evolving rapidly and leaders need to adapt. Suppliers today are pushing for longer-term contract terms, tighter payment conditions, and higher annual price increases. On top of that, contracts are increasingly complex, with embedded clauses like data protection, privacy, and SLA requirements that link to other documents on the internet. These links can quietly shift terms without your knowledge, creating hidden risks. At the same time, AI tools are emerging that can help procurement professionals optimize the process, scan contracts for risks, analyze terms, and even calculate deal value more effectively. But be cautious, this is only a tool. It should not replace a good procurement or negotiations expert. Executives are demanding clear, data-driven dashboards to demonstrate procurement's contribution. And globally, trade pressures are driving supplier diversification, renegotiation, and a push for resilience in the supply chain. Even taxation is shifting, with policies like the proposed Canada Digital Services Tax, which is adding uncertainty. The pace of change is accelerating. Without a clear strategy and alignment among stakeholders, it will be impossible to keep up. The negotiators who thrive will be those who combine timeless skills with new tools, balancing human judgment with technology. So, final thoughts. As we wrap up, let's recap the essentials of negotiating like a pro. It all starts with knowledge and preparation. Know your supplier, know their pressures, and what matters most to your organization. Build a clear, tailored strategy before you even begin. Don't go it alone. Structure your team for balance, preparation, and authority. Use tactics like linking and trading or strategic silence, but always stay aligned and prepared. Aim for fair, balanced outcomes, never the lowest cost. And finally, document everything. Prove the value you've created, quantify it, and share it with your stakeholders. Negotiation isn't about manipulation. It's about clarity, strategy, and building value over the long term. The margin for error is shrinking in today's economy, but with preparation and diligence, every negotiation can be an opportunity to reduce cost, mitigate risk, and strengthen supplier relationships. If you want to go deeper and learn more, visit us at www.procurepro.ca or subscribe to the IT Procure Pro on Substack or book a discovery call. Thank you for joining me, and remember, when you negotiate strategically, you don't just save money, you unlock long-term value.